Root is an area control, asymmetric powers, and war game released in 2018 and designed by Cole Werrell with art by Kyle Farron. The goal is to be the first to reach 30 victory points or to complete a previously placed dominance card. To set up, place the board in the middle of the table. All players choose from one of the available factions, taking their corresponding faction board in pieces. Each player places their score marker at 0 on the score track. The main deck of cards is shuffled and 3 cards are dealt to each player. Place the ruin markers on the 4 spaces on the board. The item supply is set up at the top of the board, and if there is a vagabond player in the game, the ruin items are placed randomly under each of the ruin markers. Each player then sets up their faction using the instructions on the back of their faction board in alphabetical order. The starting player is chosen randomly. In Root, players take on the responsibility of guiding their factions to glory, power, and fame in the woodland. Root is played over a variable number of turns, during which each player will perform 3 phases, and then the next player in clockwise order will act. The 3 phases are Birdsong, Daylight, and Evening, and they work fairly differently for each faction. The core of the game comes down to understanding how your particular faction scores points, such as the Marquis de Cotte earning points from winning combats and placing buildings, while the Woodland Alliance earns them from spreading sympathy and removing enemy pieces through revolts. There are specific keywords that apply to all factions, such as move, battle, and craft, but each faction performs these in a variety of ways. Birdsong is when most start of turn actions take place, while Daylight is the main phase during which the active player performs those noted actions along with some faction-specific actions, such as the Vagabond's aid action. Finally, Evening is the end phase of the turn, and during which the active player will draw 1 or more cards and do end of turn actions if they have any. Once any player obtains 30 victory points, the game ends immediately with that player as the winner. There are also dominance cards which can be a path to victory, but they are often left out of the game for first-time players. The asymmetry of Root can make teaching it a bit daunting, and it has more nuance than I can do it justice here. But trust me when I say, find someone who knows and loves this game, and they will take the time to teach you every little detail, whether you want them to or not. One of my all-time favorite tropes is the juxtaposition of the adorable and the vicious. Cute woodland creatures fighting a pitched and bloody battle for control of the forest. The Eerie dynasties are powerful and organized, but they hang by a tenuous thread of revolving leaders. The Woodland Alliance are a loose assemblage of the lower class pushing against tyranny. The Marquis de Cotte is a cold and emotionless dictator who feels entitled to possess all that it sees. You know, a cat. And there are many more factions across expansions, each adding a new voice to the struggle, such as the Lizard Cult. My word, do I love these freaky little yellow weirdos. Root as a game is deep but not overly complex. The art belies the simplicity and innocence that Root, as a piece of art, wears a thin veneer of. This game surprised me, and it surprises many of the people I've introduced it to, by being more than just the wood and cardboard that fills its box. It tells a tale every time I play it. The lone vagabond delving into ruins for forgotten treasures, and playing each side against the others. The unrelenting forces of a vast military machine crushing all resistance across the clearings. The quiet, unassuming neighbor who just wants to share some literature with you, when suddenly you find yourself wearing the same robes with a new garden you didn't build in your backyard and everyone around you chanting. Love those guys. If you'd ever like to share a story of it with me, I'm always game.